all, welcome everybody. It's great that we all have you here. Like the last time, it's really a big audience, what I really love, and it really shows that artificial intelligence is definitely a topic at the moment. My name is Mirko. I'm from collectAI, and collectAI is also the host of this event. And of course, also as a starting point, big thanks to Mindspace for having us here again, which is a great place for this event. First of all, before we start, one question. So when you divide artificial intelligence into two topics, you usually have a little bit more the business topics. So I'm also a business guy. I know what AI is, but when it comes really to a model, I have definitely no clue. And on the other side, we have the technical guys more, yeah? The ones who are doing the concepts, so more the data scientists. Then you have the developers and so on. And it would be great if you can raise your hand. First of all, who's more from the business side? Okay. Which is okay, that's not too bad, yeah? I know that the technical side is better paid at the moment, but it's not too bad. So who's now from the technical side? Okay, I would say it's a little bit less, yeah? The three speakers today we have there, I think to be a little bit more business-driven than last time. Nevertheless, very interesting. But of course, I will not tell you what we in detail have, even though it's really interesting. So that's the timeline of today. We will start around 6:40, 6:45. I think we need a little bit longer. And then the plan is to have around 20 to 30 minutes for each talk. And after each talk, you have the chance to ask questions, of course, yeah? And ask whatever you want to ask. And afterwards, we of course have also our networking, and then I hope that the white wine is a little bit cooler than it is at the moment. Yeah? Good. So, what is HamburgAI? So, originally, where does it come from? So, I'm from collectAI, and originally, it was in 2016, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And it was the case that one of our shareholders told me, hey Mirko, there is an initiative which is called city.ai, and you definitely have to do something with them. And I had no clue back that days, yeah. What should I do with them? But then Anna joined the company, and I asked Anna if she can support us, and she did. And when we look back now, we have already plenty of events where we always had great speakers with great topics. So as you can see, it's still a very valid topic. And for us, it's really a community that works together, yeah? So we want to exchange with you guys. And what's also very important, it's the field of applied artificial intelligence, yeah? You always read a lot, very general topics, general articles, but here it's about how we can really apply artificial intelligence in the industry, yeah? How does it really bring value to the people? And of course, it's also about knowledge sharing, yeah? We want to bring together the guys in artificial intelligence, especially in Hamburg. So, where are we from? So, there, as I said in the beginning, there's an initiative, it's called city.ai, and they are already active in more than 50 cities. I know there's also one in Bremen, what I heard today, I didn't know. So, Bremen.ai.
So, but that's not from city.ai.
That's not from city. Ah, okay, good. So there are a couple of ones, there's also one in Berlin, for instance, yeah? But I would say in Germany, Hamburg is definitely one of the most important ones. And now we are coming to the major part of the day, of course. I'm talking and talking without any content, but now it's about the guys who have to speak today. And we have three very interesting things from three, I would say, completely different industries. The one I understand a little bit better, it's in the middle. It's Figo, because Figo is a fintech, and we as well are also a fintech. Number two, Roland from Just Add AI. I understand a little bit because of a hobby, but we will talk about this later. Number one is Björn from Gpredictive, and that's more the marketing space, and I'm always a beginner in marketing, so it's really interesting to see what Björn will tell. So, let's directly start, and as number one, I would say hello to Björn, and please an applause for Björn. So, I know something wrong. So what I understand so far is, so Björn, you are the CEO of Gpredictive, and the company is not so new. I would say it's almost 10 years old, but you had a pivot in the company a couple of years ago. You were about this a little bit. And what is really interesting is, I would say it's an SaaS or SaaS provider for customer behavior prediction. I would phrase it like this.
Yeah, that's
So as an amateur. But the good thing is, I don't have to talk any longer about Gpredictive, because I will hand over now to Björn. Thanks again.
Thank you.
yes, of course.
Right, good evening. Right, my name is Björn. Thank you for the introduction. Thanks for having me here. Right, the first slide, yeah. It's all right. What I'd like to address tonight is what the future of being a data scientist might look like in the near future already. As long as we see it, at least as it relates to the space that we are in. And of course, it's all embedded, at least a little bit, in a case of a customer of ours. Before we start, just a very, very short introduction about our company. As we said, it is a software as a service product that we have today, but we started 10 years ago as data mining consultants, really. And we had companies like Volkswagen, Otto, to name a few from here from Hamburg, as customers, and we specialized quite early in predictive modeling, really, which I don't think was called like that in those days, really. Don't know whether anybody really had a name for that. And what we found was that the more we standardized what we do, the better the outcome was. It was more efficient, it was more reliable, and then we said, okay, if that's the case, then it's time to build software, really. And that's what we did. That's what we decided to do in 2014, really, 2013 probably. But the pivot was in 2014. We stopped all the consulting within, let's say, half a year and started building the product. And we still have that product today, with Gp20, right here in the heart of Hamburg. And yeah, that's what we do. Maybe one word to what the software does. The software predicts what a customer is going to do in the near future. Is he or she going to buy or not? And if so, what is the value of the purchase going to be? Right. So that's quite valuable information for the marketing users. Right. To give you an idea what the customers are like, they are from two industries. One of them is e-commerce, and the other one is publishing houses, really. And they are rather large companies, but not enterprises. Right, and there's one thing that all these customers are going through, and that's a massive transformation. And that transformation is going from being a company-centric company to being a customer-centric company. And for those of you that haven't heard those words yet, if you're selling beer and you're company-centric, you might say, okay, I'm going to sell this, I'm going to announce that you can buy normal beer. But as you can see here, I'm drinking the non-alcoholic version. And if you only announce normal beer, I might not be the one who's going to react, because I like the one without alcohol. And if you're a customer-centric company, you try to understand what your customer wants. And if you have paid attention to what I do and have a good look at my data, you might find that I'm the one that's going to buy the one without alcohol. Right. So, the case of our company, of our customer. The customer is a company that's quite well established. They started more than 30 years ago. They're based in Düsseldorf. They have revenues of around 100 million euros. They are in the e-commerce space. They focus on mail customers. They sell through sending catalogs and direct mail orders. A very classic approach, works quite well for them, so that's fine. But the thing is, companies like these are driving this massive transformation at the moment towards the customer centricity, really. It's not Amazon only, and Zalando maybe, but now it's the vast majority of companies that are in this process. So what they do all the time now is they start modeling what they call the customer journey. So probably you click on a banner on your computer, go to the landing page, and eventually sign up for the newsletter, and that's it for today probably. But then you get the newsletter again and again and again. And one time you click on it, landing page, and drop out again. And then you get the newsletter, landing page, shop visit, and then you purchase something. So this is one of the ways, one of the paths you could go to eventually buy a product from them. And companies start modeling this because of course there are a lot of different variations on your own personal path to that purchase. And with every junction in that journey, there's usually a decision to make. And these decisions, if you want to make them efficiently and if you want to make good decisions, they're usually supported, and it's a good idea to support them with predictive models. So do I want to add an incentive? Do I want to offer product A, product B, be with alcohol, be without alcohol? Those are decisions you can make with predictive models. Right, so there's a study that says on average an e-commerce company has around 300 different touch points in a customer journey. So that's quite a lot. And what we observe quite often is that our customers have even more touch points in their journeys. So if you want to build a predictive model for every touch point in that journey, that's a lot of work. And the question is, where do all those models come from? And of course, the common approach of saying, okay, I'm going to build them by myself manually in a data science team will usually fail because you're not able to build a data science team that can build all those predictive models in an efficient way. If you find the talent at all. Right, so what do we have to do if we're in that situation of that company? The thing is, you need to automate the way the models are built. And you have to let go of the idea of building those models manually. That's the only way that you can really provide 300 or probably 3,000 predictive models specifically designed for every single touch point in your customer journey. Right, you might have talked about automating the automation of data science yourselves before. What we often see is that people say, okay, automation of data science is a good idea, but it won't work in our field. And that's what we heard when we said we're going to build an automation for CRM marketing, which is what this is all about. But then we said we have to find a way. And today I'd like to show you how users of our software have to define what their predictive models have to do, or what their purpose is, and how easy that is. I hope you can read this. What this is all about, as a user of our software, when you want to build a new predictive model, you hit a feature called Model Builder. And it is a form. And you only have to fill in a few fields in order to define what the properties of the predictive models shall be. And this is, well, the first thing you do is you give it a name, so you find it again. And for example, all companies have customers that have become inactive. And that's always the task of reactivating those where you have the chance of doing so. And the typical criterion for identifying customers that haven't, or that are to be reactivated, that they haven't bought, for example, for let's say 52 weeks or more. And this is what you can see here, which was filled in a field which is called recency, and that's the duration since the last purchase. And that's all. We define the properties of the customer target group for this use case. And there are a few more fields that you can fill in information, but if you only want to have a customer reactivation for customers that haven't bought for a year or longer, that's it. And even if you have to fill in all those fields, something in all those fields, it's only a few pages, and it only takes a few minutes if you have become accustomed to this form. There's a button down here that you can't see. If you hit that, the information is sent to the data center, and then the software takes over really, and it takes between 10 minutes to probably a day to do all the data processing. So all the data preparation is done automatically. The software builds between probably 2,000 and 10,000 new features. Then the algorithm takes over. And when it's done, you get an email that says now you can use the model. And it's not only deployable, but it has been deployed because the first one deployed in again into the software. You then use what we call the scores, which is the information of the value of your customers, for every customer. Right. But I don't want to sell our software to you. But I want to say that again, I'm really curious to really hear what you think about automating the data science process, or the process of building predictive models, because it's very heterogeneous how we observe the market at the moment. Right. If you think this is probably an interesting use case to learn more about being able to automate data science, Salesforce, they just open sourced a library that they call Transmogrify that does essentially what our software does. So please don't copy our product, but if you want, download this library and try for yourself what this can do. This is the library that powers the feature of Salesforce, which is called Einstein, which is the AI component of Salesforce. Really. It's quite interesting that they open sourced that. I think the less than a month ago. Right, so you just saw the form where the user of our software fills in the different fields in order to define the model. And I'm not exaggerating when I say quite often it takes less than a minute to define the next predictive model. And then you duplicate it, you change something, send a new one, and so on. So, when I say that a customer of ours deployed more than 50 models in the first 6 months after onboarding, it's obvious that the data science process itself was not bottleneck, but it was all the marketing processes around it. Because they started using one predictive model, a very well-established marketing process, sending the catalog in Germany. And they tested it if the software does the job better than what we do today or before. And was quite even, just a little bit better, because they were so well experienced in their German market. The next step, they launched they deployed specific models for the same marketing instrument as catalog, but for the other markets in Europe, where they haven't had the chance to build the same levels of experience. And there the predictive model was able to be about 10% better than the rules that they applied. And this is of course where the first line comes from. And then they moved on and they built quite a differentiated reactivation process. People that have bought for a year, but between 1 and 2 years, 2 and 4 years, 4 and 8 years, more than 8 years, and so on. And that's how you have, if you're buying all those different possibilities. Of course, you can see that you're quickly approaching 50 predictive models, 100, 500, whatever, if you start being specific in such a way. And they arrived at deploying those reactivation things in less than 6 months. But the thing is, all this was done by marketing managers, not by data scientists. Of course, we helped them do it, but it's so easy that they didn't have to have their own data science department, which of course is quite a change for a company like this, because data science was in no way within their grasp before. So the question is, what's the consequence for data science for our jobs, really? Will we be jobless? No, I don't think so. But I think there is change coming. And one of them is that I think as far as I observe it, I think the job of the data scientist is going to move more towards building factories, really, which is development task. And I think it's going to be less manual modeling, which is something you might probably love, which is something I love about data science, really. Like deep into a problem, revisiting the model again and again and again, and working on the, I don't know, fourth digit after the comma to improve the model, but probably that's soon going to be something in the past. Alright, and before I built those slides, I thought, okay, probably I better have a look if I'm the only one who thinks that way, or if others share that opinion. And I mean, Salesforce does. They explicitly say that they build that library to be able to build millions of predictive models automatically. And if you have a look in different blogs, you'll find many, many blog posts on citing the same thing. So you might not like this, but of course there is good news as well. Because what I think is, I think the future of data science is going to be quite bright, especially at the job of being a data scientist. One of the things that's probably not too nice today is, of course, there's quite a bit of repetition if you don't automate what you're doing. And this, I think, is going to be a lot less. And of course, the value of data science is going to grow by magnitudes. If you look at companies that haven't had the chance of building their own data science expertise before, or if they had, probably they had 5 predictive models, probably 10, but if they need 100 or hundreds, and they can now have it, of course data science will be a lot more valuable for them. I think that there's one thing that's extremely interesting to see. Well, many companies have introduced something like a CIO probably 10 years ago. A few years ago, there was the Chief Data Officer emerged, really, which I think is one of the most obvious processes how important data and not the whole IT department is anymore. And of course, as a result of the first points 2 and 3, companies will depend on data science a lot more than they are doing today. And being in the field of data science can't be a bad thing, really. And very close to that, the last point, I think the data science will, in many companies, move towards the core, towards where the value is generated. And I think those are good news for being a data scientist. It's the job profile of a data scientist. And thank you very much for listening. I'm happy to hear what you think about this one.